Lamplight Audiobooks presents An Uncertain Heart by June Tate, narrated by Helen Chalmers. Chapter 1. Belgium, July 1917. It was just after dawn at the base hospital at Poperinge, a few miles from the front line. Wards were made out of wooden huts and tents to house the many patients who had been brought in from the front. A place that was a mud bath underfoot after the heaviest rainfall in 30 years, where drainage systems had all but been destroyed by preliminary bombardments, where troops faced the enemy ankle-deep in mud, where the duckboards now failed to give the men a solid footage, and where rats scuttled round their feet as the troops stood waiting for the order to go over the top, many of them knowing they might never return to the safety of the trenches. Gunfire sounded in the far distance as Sister Helen Chalmers climbed out of her camp bed and washed in a small tin bowl with cold water before donning her uniform and hat. She quickly checked her reflection in the cracked mirror, hanging from a nail in the tent pole, before pulling on a pair of boots and swishing her cape around her shoulders. Taking an extra pair of shoes, she opened the flap of the tent and, lifting her skirts, made her way through the mud, eyes down, allowing her to pick her way through the ruts and deep puddles. The sky was grey, without a hint of sunlight to follow. She walked into the large tent that was the operating theatre, took off the boots and changed into her shoes. There were 3 tables awaiting the injured, with surgeons and staff standing ready, scrubbed up, preparing for another long day of surgery, knowing that soon ambulances would be arriving, full of injured soldiers in desperate need of their skill. Then the first patient was brought in. Hours later, Helen looked over her face mask at Captain Richard Carson, the surgeon with whom she worked, as she handed him a scalpel. This was their 6th operation of the day, and yet another brave soldier was to go under the knife. As the battle raged on at Ypres, more and more casualties arrived. They were attended to by the medical orderlies and nurses, assessing which patient necessitated the urgent attention of the surgeon, who could wait, and who was beyond medical help. It was a desperate choice to have to make, but the medical staff remained as stoic as possible under the strain.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?